What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love During Lockup, Season 4, Episode 27. Let's get started with Tay and Hottie. So, Tay wants to meet up with Boston. Boston is Tay's other girlfriend, and she just wants to know whether or not Boston and Hottie are actually engaged, because Tay's cousin had told her that word on the curb is that Hottie is definitely engaged, but the person that everybody's saying he's engaged to is Boston, not Ty. So when she meets up with Boston, they meet at a little cafe. They're sitting outside, and Boston tells her that she is definitely engaged to Hottie. And Tay was like, "Well, where's your ring?" And so I think Hottie says she was getting it sized. And then Tay says something like, "So they can fit your big old man hands." So Boston tells her that yes, they are engaged, and as soon as Hottie gets out, they're going to get married. They're already making plans for their wedding. And so Tay tells her, hey, I'm engaged too to Boston. I mean, to Hottie. He proposed to me too. And she talks about her own engagement to Hottie. So Boston, acted like it really didn't faze her. But later on in her own confessional, Boston said that she was really hurt when she heard that. And as she's talking, you can tell that she's trying to fight back tears. So she was really hurt when she heard that Tay was also engaged to Hottie. So back to the scene. Tay tells Boston, because Boston showed up in like a little flared out skirt. I think it was like a denim skirt. And Tay says, "I like your little hoe skirt." And Boston says, "Well, I like your fake teeth." And then Boston says that she really doubts that Tay and Hottie are even engaged. And she tells her something like, I don't even think you're really engaged to Hottie or whatever. She says something about doubting it. And then Boston tells her, can you just, get out of our business, get off of Hottie's junk, leave us the hell alone, and just, go away. So Tay gets really upset. She gets up, she flips the table over, and it's those kind of, those pretty heavy wrought iron tables. She flips the table over, and then she walks away. After she takes a moment to, I guess, calm down, there must have been some type of a contract that she signed or something with the show to not put her hands on anybody. Because the last time that Tay and Boston got together, they put hands on one another. So I was worried that was going to happen again, but the fact that Tay did not jump on Boston after finding out that Boston was also engaged to Hottie, there must have been like either law enforcement was on the premises to make sure that everything was copacetic, or they threatened her with a lawsuit telling her like, "Look, if you put your hands on anybody, we're not going to be responsible, and we're going to sue you for their medical bills," or whatever. I don't know, but something must have been told to Tay to get her to keep her butt in that chair and to not put her hands on anybody. So anyway, after she walks away, she comes back, and Boston cautiously gets up and starts inching away from Tay because she don't want no heat from Tay. So Tay says, I come here in peace. I'm not here to fight you. I just want to have a conversation with you. So they're literally like across the street from one another. That's how far away Boston was removing herself from Tay. They are literally talking across the street from one another. And so Tay tells her, "I'm not going to hurt you. I promise you, I'm not going to fight. I'm not here for that. Can you please come over and talk to me?" So Boston very slowly walks across the street to join Tay on the other side. And Tay tells her that, "Look, girl, my problem is not with you. My problem is with Hottie, because I'm realizing now that he is not the man that I thought he was. I was imagining that he was going to be this really loyal guy. I was thinking about, our future together, having all these visions of our wedding and our future. And now that I find out that he's also engaged to you, he's nothing but a liar. And so I have realized that this is not the man for me, that he's been playing both of us this whole entire time. He wasn't serious about neither one of us. So I am over Hottie, girl. If you want him, you can have him. But I'm over him. I'm done." So in her confessional, Boston says that it's really messed up that Hottie was playing both of them, but she's not ready to give up Hottie and she still wants to marry Hottie. And so now that Tay's out of the picture, she thinks that she got her man back and she thinks that she came out the winner. Yes, girl, the winner of her broken heart. So Tay apologizes to Boston, tells her that she's over Hottie, it's finally done, and they actually give each other a hug. And it's just, I mean, I'm happy for Tay that she's over Boston. I mean, she's over Hottie, that she, finally let that man go. I mean, and it's okay for her to let Hottie go because she's got like 27 other prisoners that she's talking to that she's in serious relationships with. So it ain't nothing for her to let Hottie go. But it's just so sad that Boston is still going to hang on to a guy like Hottie. Anyways, moving on to Jessica and Dustin. So Jessica is our 44-year-old former prison nurse who wanted to hook up with an inmate so bad that she ended up quitting her job as a nurse in order to date said prisoner, which is Dustin. He is 27 years old and she's 44. So in this particular scene, Jessica, she came down to whatever state this is, whatever state that Dustin is in. Was it Georgia? I think it was Georgia. So she comes down to Georgia, right? Because she's going to find a home there because she wants to permanently move there so her and Dustin can have a future there, right? So she is planning on meeting Dustin's mother and sister. And what I loved about the mother and sister is that they kept it all the way a buck. They kept it all the way 100 with Jessica. They did not sugarcoat nothing about Dustin. They told her straight up. Okay, before we even get there, first of all, Jessica says to them that she actually got a tattoo of Dustin's name, like a special tattoo. So she lifts up her shirt and like in Tupac style, in Tupac thug life style, she has a tattoo completely across her belly. I think it was like below her belly button, but it was like huge. These letters must have been a good, I want to say, 4 inches high, completely across her stomach. It says Whitley or something, which is Dustin's last name. It doesn't even say Dustin on it. It's his last name. And it's a big tattoo. And the mom and sister look at it and they're like, why would you get his last name tattoo? Why didn't you just get Dustin? And she gave some reason why she chose the last name. I forgot what she said. And as soon as she sat down, they asked her, well, what if when y'all meet, y'all don't even like each other? And Jessica's like, nope, that's not even possible. That's not possible at all. That's not possible at all. We're going to like each other. And then they tell her that Dustin has never been faithful to any female while he's been out. He's only faithful while he's in prison because he ain't got no other choice. And they tell her that he is a drug addict. They tell her that he is seriously into marijuana and meth, that his addiction is really, really bad, and that when he gets out of prison, he needs to go to rehab. He needs to go to some serious rehab because his addiction is bad. So this makes Jessica kind of like, she's surprised. She's actually surprised because she said that she never knew that he was an addict. So, and they told her that, his addiction has always gotten in the way of him trying to make a better life for himself. And that's why he's constantly ending up in prison. Even her daughter, even Jessica's own daughter was like, you know what, Mom? I don't know. Maybe you need to rethink this. And the daughter says that she doesn't even believe that Dustin will stop doing drugs. The likelihood of him the likelihood of him no longer using drugs was extremely, extremely low. Even her own daughter thinks that. But we'll see what happens. Jessica probably thinks that, she's going to change him. She's going to turn him around. That she's exactly what he needs, to be a better man. Moving on to Chelsea and Mikey. Now, Chelsea is our young lady who is hard of hearing, and Mikey is the big buff guy in prison. So Chelsea goes to see Pamela, which is Mikey's mom, because she wants to get to the bottom of Mikey's health, whether or not he actually had a stroke. So she meets up with the mother. And the mother confirms that Mikey did have a stroke. And I was wondering, how was this conversation going to take place? Because Chelsea is deaf and the mom doesn't know sign language. So how is this even going to happen? So Chelsea is really good at lip reading. And so that's how they were able to communicate with one another. Now, when I tell you that Chelsea is good at lip reading, Chelsea is good at lip reading. And I guess, of course, it's a skill that deaf people have to develop, that I'm pretty sure their ability to read lips is like light years beyond a hearing person's ability to read lips. Because as I was watching, and you know what, they did that awful thing. The show did that awful thing. They actually zoomed into Pamela, Mikey's mom. They actually zoomed into her lips. I guess, I don't know for what. They zoomed into her lips and we could see her little granny chin hairs. And I was like, we TV, y'all are so wrong for that, for magnifying that woman's little billy goat hairs like that. But Chelsea was able to read her lips and they were carrying on like it was a regular conversation. So they're going to a lawyer to see what rights were violated by the prison when they refused to give Mikey medical treatment. So evidently there's some controversy, I guess, going on of when Mikey had his stroke and how quickly he was able to be able to be admitted to a hospital or something. And I'm wondering if this is the reason why when Chelsea's father called the prison, they kept on telling him that he was fine. Maybe because they were hiding about his actual condition, or I don't know. That was just really strange that the prison kept on telling the dad that, Mikey was fine. But coming to find out, this man had a stroke. He had a stroke. And I think he also had like a mini stroke or something. He was in a serious condition. So they're going to go talk to a lawyer to see if there's any type of, I don't know, lawsuit or whatever that they could file for the prison not giving him the treatment that he needed when he needed it. And then they talk about tattoos, and here we go. Chelsea says that she wants to get a tattoo of Mikey's signature and she wants to surprise him with it. At least wait to get a ring, girl. Please get a ring and a date before you start drawing all over your body in permanent ink for a man that may not even last a week with you as soon as he's released. Moving on to Melissa and Louie. Melissa and Louie bore the hell out of me. It's really difficult for me to pay attention to their segment. So Louie's the one, he's been doing time for 10 years and he's about to be released. Melissa goes to see Louie's old boss. And I was like, what? Why would you go see his old boss? I did not see this coming from the last episode that she had planned to go see his old boss, but here we are. So he used to work at a pizzeria and the boss tells her, the complete lowdown on Louie. The boss actually likes Louie. He really does like Louie. And it was sad for the boss to see the path that Louie ended up taking, going to prison. So the boss tells her that, Louie was a good employee, but he definitely had his issues. He would come to work drunk. He would come to work high. He would be taking drugs at work. He would disappear for 30 minutes and everybody knew what the deal was, that he was somewhere, smoking something, snorting something, or injecting something. And so he had a really bad drug problem. And Melissa is beginning to kind of, be a little bit worried about this because she's not sure if she can handle an addict, full on like that. The boss says that he's willing to hire Louie back once Louie is released. And so this worries Melissa because Melissa is under the belief that once Louie is released, they're going to be heading back to New Jersey together. So the fact that his mother wants him to stay in whatever state this is, Georgia, I don't know. The mother wants him to stay in Georgia. The boss is talking about rehiring him. So it seems like Louie's going to be making roots again in Georgia. And this is concerning for Melissa because she said that Louie told her that they were going to be going back to New Jersey together. So the boss was like, well, it seems like Louie, he's an addict and he lies to everybody. So he's probably playing all of us. So then Melissa calls Louie and she questions him about what his intentions are for his future. So she's like, I thought me and you were going to go to Jersey together, but your mom is telling me that you're staying here. I went to go see your boss and your boss is telling me that he's going to rehire you again. So it seems like, you're going to be staying here. And he says, Melissa, didn't I tell you that I'm going to have to do my probation here in Georgia? So I don't know how long that's going to be. And I'm thinking, how do you not know how long your probation is going to be? And so then they start talking about the yoga instructor, because I think the boss had told her that, yeah, there is a yoga instructor. Was it the boss that confirmed that there was anyways, whatever. So she asked him about the yoga instructor, and he gets really defensive when she brings up the yoga instructor. He got really defensive. He really didn't want to talk about it. And he kind of downplayed it, like, ain't nothing going on. She's just a yoga instructor. I don't want to talk about this. And he threatened to end the call. He got so upset about it that he was wanting to end the call. So Melissa takes a trip to see the yoga instructor. Now, Melissa is one busy chick. She's like, I'm going to take care of all of my errands while I am here in Georgia, because she has hit up Louis. Went to go see him, made out with him while he was on the clock in prison. She went to go see the mother, did a little house tour with the mom, got the lowdown on route to the yoga instructor. Then she went to go see Louis' boss, got the lowdown on Louis' history, his drug problem, his addiction. She is one busy little bee in Georgia. So now here we are at the yoga instructor. She went and found the damn yoga instructor, walked into the damn studio, pretended like she was taking a class. Then after the class was done, she wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with her. The yoga instructor, of course, she seems really peaceful, very zen, doesn't want to have any issues. But the thing that Melissa had noted about the yoga instructor, she was an attractive woman. This is what Melissa said. She was attractive. She was very skinny. So yeah, she was attractive. She was skinny, very small, petite little woman. And I guess it had Melissa feeling some kind of way. So because as they were doing the yoga poses in her class, Melissa was thinking to herself, if these are the kind of moves that she's been doing in prison, like, no wonder Louis wants to become a yoga instructor and wants to be certified by her, because she was doing all the downward facing dog, with her butt up in the air and everything else. And Melissa was like, man, no wonder those prisoners are so eager to take yoga lessons when you got an attractive woman like this doing all of these, suggestive poses. So she confronts the yoga instructor and she's like, what's up between you and Louis? I'm his girlfriend. By the way, I'm his girlfriend. And he's been telling me that he wants to become certified and you're teaching him yoga. Like, what's really going on here? And the lady's like, look, I don't want no problems. Louis is one of my students. He's a great guy. I don't know what you want me to say. And I have another class. Thank you so much, but bye-bye. So now Melissa is really questioning Louis' relationship with the yoga instructor. Melissa is so immature. Melissa, girl, go back home to New Jersey and forget about Louis. Girl, please go back home to New Jersey. Melissa, to me, like I said, she's stuck in her high school days. So he's been in prison for 10 years, ever since he was basically out of high school. So that makes it like 18, right? 10 years ago, where it was 2012. Melissa is stuck in 2010, 2012. It's like she's stuck in her high school days. She never really matured a lot past that. Her mentality, her attitude, her demeanor, her behavior, to me, is very high school girlish. I don't see her as a grown woman at all. She is so stuck in her high school days. And I think she even kind of dresses like a high school girl. She's so stuck in her high school days. I think she wants to be with Louis so they can relive their high school days. She wants to be like, I forgot their names, but the couple in Greece, was it Sandy and Tony? It's like she wants to relive those old high school days or something. I don't know. Moving on to Justine and Michael. So this is where it gets, viewer discretion is advised, because I'm going to be talking about some really disgusting things in the Justine and Michael segment. So Justine's cousin comes over and they're up in Justine's room, I think. And there's a wall that is completely dedicated to Michael. It's got Michael's pictures. It's got all the letters that Michael wrote her from prison. It's got pictures that they've taken together. It's got drawings that he drew for her. And Lord have mercy, it's got some damn toenail clippings. And Justine points out the toenail clippings. And she's like, did you see the toenail clippings? And the cousin was like, oh my God, that's so gross. And Justine is like, yeah, they're Michael's. He clipped his toenails for me. And I was like, what? What in the voodoo magic kingdom is this? So she goes on to say in her confessional that Michael has sent her toenail clippings, which she saved. He has sent her blood. He has sent her a blister that she kept. And he also sent her a sample of his DNA in a prophylactic. And she says, yeah, we're a really weird couple. Girl, weird is not even the word to deranged, demonic, maybe. So while she's talking to her cousin, Michael calls. And I'm still not over how freely inmates can just pick up a phone and call somebody, because I felt like there used to be a time when inmates could make like one call a day or something, and they would all have to get in a line and talk on the phone, but they all have their own cell phones now. You know, they can video chat anytime, anybody they want to. It's just whatever goes now. So Michael calls her, and, you know, after they jibber jabber for a while, the cousin gets down to the nitty gritty and asks Michael, where did you get the money from to buy her that car? And he jokes around and he says the lotto. And so after the conversation is over, Justine says in her confessional that Michael does not like to be questioned. Baby girl, and that's not a red flag to you? If he doesn't like to be questioned about where his money is from, where he gets his money from, how he gets his money, girl, that's a red flag. That's what we would call, in the normal world, that's what we call a red flag. So the cousin is like, so where does he get his money from? And Justine says, well, I think he gets it from his music. Okay, so they're also producing, creating, and selling music from prison as well. So what's the incentive to stay out of prison again? Mark and Sensoray. Okay, this was weird. Okay, they take the weird award for the day. Actually, no, that's we got to leave that to Justine and Michael. But Mark and Sensoray, or Mark himself, he was a very close runner up to this episode's weird award. So Mark is with his business partner. I have no idea who this person is. They're just he's just talking to some random guy. I'm assuming it's his business partner. And they're in a house that Mark is renovating. Mark is a jack of all trades. He does a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. So now we find out that he's also in real estate. So this is a home that he is putting together. It's an 11 bedroom home that he wants to turn into some kind of a housing center or something for female inmates who have just been released from prison who have children. He wants them all to live in this house for them, I guess, as they transition back into society and get back on their feet. That's what he wants to turn this house into. So he tells his business partner about this idea, and the business partner is like, Mark is just so random. So then Mark tells his business partner how he wants to impregnate Sensoray so that she can get released earlier. And the business partner is like, that's an absolute no. No, absolute hell no. So then Mark calls Kristen, which is another female that he's talking to, because they did tell us in the previous episodes that Mark is a lot like Ty. He has a lot going on. He's talking to several incarcerated females. So he calls Kristen, and he's having a conversation with Kristen about his idea about this housing center for female inmates when they get whatever the hell. And so then he says, hey, I'm going to call another girl that I'm talking to who's incarcerated, who's also incarcerated, and her name is Sensoray, and I want the two of you to meet. And then he tells Kristen that he wants Kristen to help him convince Sensoray to get pregnant by him so that she can reduce her time, because Sensoray has 7 years left on her time to serve. So he gets all of them together on three-way, and He brings up this idea of impregnating Sensei for her to get her prison time reduced. And both women are like, no, that is not a good idea. That's a bad idea, Mark. And Sensei says, please don't do that. Don't send anything to me of that sort because I can add more time. I can get more time. Okay, stop. It's not going to happen. And Kristen even says that she says, I was pregnant in prison and I didn't get my time reduced. They took my baby. And Mark says, well, of course they didn't reduce your time because you didn't have a lot of time left on your book. So that's why you were about to get released anyway. That's why they didn't reduce your time. But she's got 7 years and I'm sure they're going to reduce her time. And Mark, shut up. Shut up, Mark. And so he gets off. So he thinks that he has gotten off the phone with Sensei. He thinks that Sensei has hung up because one of them has said, well, I got to go now because they're doing count. And so he thought it was Sensei, I guess, because he asked the question, okay, so who I'm on the phone with now? And I think Sensei said her name, but he didn't hear her or whatever because he's an idiot. And so he's talking to Sensei, who's the only one left on the phone now because Kristen had to leave, but he thinks he's talking to Kristen. So he says, yeah, we just really got to get Sensei to go along with this idea of getting pregnant. He's talking about convincing Sensei to go along with this, boneheaded idea. And then Sensei was like, Mark, this is Sin. You're talking to Sin. And he's like, oh, I thought you said you were Christian. Whatever. You're just an idiot, Mark. Your segments are getting more and more and more difficult to watch. First of all, Sensei has 7 whole years left. So we're not waiting around 7 years for you and Sensei to reunite. We don't give a damn what kind of relationship that y'all have while she's still locked up for the next 7 years. Not interested in Mark, and I think Sensei is less interested in Mark than I am. That is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, do not forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.